The Jews are a people beloved by God, chosen to bring spiritual light to the entire world. Therefore, the Almighty, on one hand, is more demanding of this people and sternly punishes them if they stray from their mission. On the other hand, their fate will not resemble the fate of other nations. Although the Creator punishes them severely, He never completely annihilates them and promises that there will always be Jews who remember the divine teachings and observe God's laws. In this video, we present to you some of the prophecies about the Jewish people that have miraculously come true against all logic. First prophecy. Throughout history, there have been hundreds of nations and tribes in the world. Over the past 5,000 years, most of them have disappeared without leaving a trace. The Sumerians, Akkadian tribes, Babylonians, Incas, Aztecs, where can their traces be found? If it weren't for archaeologists, we wouldn't even know of their existence. However, the Jewish people will not vanish. The Torah promises this: even if they are in the land of their enemies, I will not despise them, nor will I abhor them, to destroy them completely, for I am the Lord their God. Second prophecy, about the Jewish people and the Torah. As for me, this is my covenant with them, says the Lord. My spirit that is upon you, and my words that I have put in your mouth, shall not depart out of your mouth, nor out of the mouth of your offspring, nor out of the mouth of your offspring's offspring, says the Lord, from this time on and forever. A commonality among all vanished ancient cultures is that no one in the world lives according to these cultures anymore. No one studies them to follow their ways and align their actions with them. Meanwhile, the Jewish way of life is observed by Jews just as it was in ancient times. Tefillin that are 2,000 years old are similar to those we wear today. Ancient mikvahs are built according to the same legislative parameters as modern ones. It's remarkable that the Torah has been preserved as a system of laws for daily life over such a long period. This phenomenon is not found among other peoples. It was impossible to foresee in advance, yet the prophets knew this would be the case. Jewish bucks represent a continuous historical chain. There has not been a single day in millennia when Jews have not studied the Torah. Even during catastrophes in camps and ghettos, works on the Torah were created with sermons and revelations. The Torah prophesies that the Jewish people will be in exile, will suffer disasters, but will still study the Torah. Third prophecy, a small nation. And you shall be left few in number, whereas you were as the stars of heaven for multitude. Indeed, the Jewish people, with the help of their neighbors, faithfully fulfill this prophecy, remaining a small nation in terms of a population that totals only 18 million people. The catastrophe of European Jewry represents a threat to its very existence. However, the Torah promises that the nation will not be annihilated. It assures that even in the most difficult periods of history, in exile, when the Jewish people will be few in number, they will, nonetheless, continue to exist. Fourth prophecy, dispersal throughout the world. And the Lord will scatter you among all peoples, from one end of the earth to the other. Indeed, there is no inhabited place on earth where Jews have not reached. Such dispersal poses an additional danger to the survival of the nation, especially since it is a small nation, and the more dispersed it is, the greater the danger of assimilation. Most nations have disappeared from the face of the earth precisely due to assimilation. Therefore, the prophecy that a small and scattered nation across the world will surely survive seems to contradict common sense. However, the survival of the Jewish people is a fact. Fifth prophecy, exile. But among these nations you shall find no ease, and there shall be no rest for the sole of your foot. There is no nation in the world that has wandered as much as the Jews. Of course, there have been migrations of peoples due to wars or natural disasters in history, but there has never been a case where a government officially issued a decree to exile an entire people. Most states have expelled Jews at least once. The expulsion of Jews from England in the 13th century, the expulsion from France, from every city in Germany, from Austria, Lithuania, Spain, and the extermination of Jews in Europe during World War II. Sixth prophecy, Antisemitism. You shall become a horror, a proverb, and a byword among all the peoples where the Lord will lead you. Your life shall hang in doubt before you. You shall fear day and night, and shall have no assurance of your life. In the morning you shall say, if only it were evening, and at evening you shall say, if only it were morning, because of the dread that your heart shall feel, and the sights that your eyes shall see. Antisemitism has been the subject of many studies that have found no rational explanation for this phenomenon. Professor Yosef Ben Shlomo writes, "This hatred is principled and unconditional, and therefore it is independent of anything, not personal qualities, not national character, not economic status, not social conditions, not the form of government, nor the Jews' relation to it, neither success nor failure, neither backwardness nor progressiveness." Such a phenomenon, which has no natural explanation, cannot be foreseen in advance, yet the Torah knew, and the Torah also promised that despite everything, the people will continue to exist. Seventh prophecy, the people who are talked about the most. You shall become a horror, a proverb, and a byword. What is the likelihood that a small, scattered group of people without a centralized national presence would become so well known that they are talked about more than anyone else? In 1899, Mark Twain wrote in Harper's Magazine, "If the statistics are right, the Jews constitute but 1% of the human race. It suggests a nebulous dim puff of stardust lost in the blaze of the Milky Way. Properly, the Jew ought hardly to be heard of, but he is heard of, has always been heard of. He is as prominent on the planet as any other people." And the Torah knew this in advance too. The history of the Jewish people over 2,000 years of exile is unique and full of paradoxes. A small people, hated and persecuted by all, they endure countless pogroms, persecution, and discrimination. And this people continues to create their spiritual works and maintain their ancient way of life. The Jewish people do not disappear, neither through assimilation or through physical annihilation. All this is clearly and unequivocally written in the Torah. Who else could have promised such a thing in advance?